the meantime, this is my dear friend, Wendy Gallant from Ontario, Canada,
How are
who
you doing?
into some pretty interesting things, like psychic abilities and such,
Mhm.
and started doing the studies on seeing blindfold.
Mhm.
And that's not some kinky sex thing. It's actually seeing eyeball. Wendy, tell us how you got started.
Okay, well, it's kind of a long story. I originally, and I think it mentioned it at first, I originally, small time girl, grow up in a farm, met my husband who got us both into sailing and bought a sailboat, and we can continue to sail for, like 40 years. We sailed all through the Great Lakes and all down through the Caribbean, down the coast and stuff. And our favorite place, we ended up all the way down to Tobago, and our favorite place ended up being Belize. We love Belize. So I didn't have any inclination towards any of this. I did know that I loved laying on the foredeck, looking up at the stars. And I did know I had some precog stuff, whereas I would think of somebody and I'd get a letter in the mail, or my husband used to laugh at me and say, don't tell me stuff that's going to happen, because it always does when you tell me. So, and it was this kind of a comical thing between the two of us. Well, about 4 years ago, he passed away. So my life changed, and everything opened up. I just totally opened up. The first thing that happened to me was I lived by the lake, of course. I said I lived by Lake Huron. I would go down to the beach every day, or every night actually. And I sat on the beach. My first experience was sitting there. It was getting late. It was like 2 a.m. And I'm sitting there looking out over the water, and I see this bright light over the water. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I know the sky pretty good. And I was like, it looks like a star, but it's not a star I recognize. So I sat there all night and I was paying attention to this one star. And after about 3 hours, I thought to myself, I better go home. It's getting late. It's getting like 3 so in the morning. And so I started packing up my stuff. And as I packed up my stuff, this star started moving, and it sat there for 3 hours. The star started moving, kind of zigzagged its way up to the Big Dipper, stopped, and I'm looking at it going, what the heck? And then it just went whoosh over my head. That was my first experience. After that, it went on to, after that, it was almost every night. I can't even explain. It was almost every night. It was like fireworks going on in the sky. Sometimes it was like, even there would be fireworks on the beach. And for me, there'd be fireworks in the sky. And I was like, what the heck, As somebody that never experienced this anymore, I actually really didn't even understand what was going on or why or whatever. And I started getting messages from my husband, started getting messages from everyone, and warnings and dreams. And it was pretty incredible. And I still didn't really understand what was going on. And I started to kind of research it and talking to people in this field, and actually went on a Skywatch with Dr. Greer. And he sat me down and explained to me what happened. And basically, when my husband passed away, I just opened right up, like, I guess the trauma of it. And he said that they were very interested in me because I was so open. And actually, Dr. Greer's expedition, I had stuff happening to me almost every day. So as we move on, as time went on, a good friend of mine, Leonie Applett from Australia, and another good friend of mine, Rob Freeman from here in Ontario, I was introduced to blindfold seeing. And I was, this was about 6 months after my husband passed away. I went up to Ottawa and took a training in seeing. And the funny thing about it is I walked in, I sat at the table, and the girl said to me, "You aren't going to be able to see." Like, that's right away after I paid my money and everything. She said, "You're not going to see." And I'm like, "Why?" And she said, "Well," she said, "number one, you're too old. And number two, you've just went through a trauma, so you won't see." Well, she immediately said that to me. I spent 4 days and I did not see. There was one girl with us. It was amazing. She was, I think, from Ecuador, I think. Being Spanish, apparently, they say they opened up quite well. She opened up, she could read, she could see everything with the blindfold on. I was like, I actually trained her at one point in time, and she had me, she could see, and every day that we trained, hers opened up more and more. And I still distinctly remember her saying that she was seeing and hold my hand up, and she was counting my fingers and having me move to where she could see to count her fingers. And another amazing thing that I remember from that training was a little boy. And we had to train this little boy to see, and I had him as my student. Actually, me and the other girl had him, and we were practicing on him. And I'll never forget this. He was seeing immediately. He could read, he could see colors. And we're going, "Well, where do you see?" And he points to his wrist. And I'm like, what? And you could point something to his wrist and he could see there. You can see anywhere in your body, but he could see there. We made the mistake of saying, "No, bring it up here." And the teacher just went, "No, no, no, no. Kids can see anywhere. Kids can see so easily, they can see anywhere." So that blew my mind, and it gave me the practice on training people. Blew my mind. But I left and I didn't see anything in the training. The only time I did is we went back to a bed and breakfast, and we were sitting there, and Rob and another person was training Rob on the couch. And I'm sitting there in a rocking chair with the mask on, listening to them. And I was just rocking back and forth, listening to them. And I guess I got into a really relaxed state. And the person across from me walked up, sent a colored sheet of paper on my lap, and said, "What color is that?" And I said, "Fluorescent pink." And it was. So that was my only experience with it at that time. So then we came home, and Rob and I practiced on our own, experimenting on our own, and trying to figure out what was the main way of doing this. And everyone's different. Kids get it easily. The younger you are, the easier it is. And so we started practicing together, and both of us kind of coming up with ideas and how to do it. And I started out just seeing little flashes of color in my mask. That's how I started out, and Rob was the same. And then we slowly moved on from just seeing little flashes of color. Like, this was just us experimenting. We went from little flashes of color to being able to say where that color was. Like, he put it, if you can go to my website or my YouTube site and see all of this. We went from just seeing flashes of color to then seeing where the color is. Like, say we have a cup, and we put it, say, on a shelf and say, where is that color? Or if there's two colors, where are those colors? But it was mostly just a haze. As you moved across, you would see it. And so we went from that to, we were so excited. We went from that to seeing in the next room. We were like, wow, like anything new makes us open up even more. It's like your brain needs new, exciting things to do all the time. So we would put a piece of paper in the other room and say, "What color is that?" Tell them where it is. I'm putting the piece of paper on the couch. And you would get it. And so we were like excited. Then we found out that all of this is non-local. We didn't understand that at first. Everything was non-local. This was just a learning curve, especially for me. And so then we went from that to one day, Rob got in the car, backed out of my driveway with cups on the dash and asked me what color. And I didn't know he was driving away. I was in the living room. I didn't know he was driving away. And I got the three cups as he was driving down the street towards the lake. So like it was all a big time learning curve for us. And then I remember the first time I saw a letter, and in the video you'll see I almost started crying. First time a letter formed, like it just formed in my mask as he walked across. And so yeah, that was pretty phenomenal for us because we were just training alone. Nobody was training us. So then we decided to bring Michaela Israti over and have her train us. And so we spent a week. We had a bunch of people there. We spent a week. And when she was training us, she had us, you'll see some videos where she put the paper right behind her head, and we could see it as she moved the paper behind her head. I mean. And so we were doing that. And at that point in time, I opened up, whereas where I saw, I could start seeing colors, but I would start to see beings and stuff, multi-dimensional beings right in that spot that I was seeing. Didn't understand at that time what it was about, and didn't understand that my window was actually, and we call it windows where you see, that my window was actually somewhere else. I learned that later. But we spent a week with Michaela, and then we did a little training with Mark Komisarov, which was amazing. And his was more intuition. You know, it was amazing. Like just intuition. Can you tell me where certain things are? And so that was really cool. So then we came back and we started training again, training each other again with new ideas. And so then we separated at that point in time and just trained individually. And I got a little bit into energy work, and I was trying to bend spoons and all that. I managed to bend 3. I managed to bend 3 in that, and then I was playing Buddy's game. I can't remember what the name of it is. I'm sorry.
I think it's just called Psychic Trainer. That's
yeah.
Russell Targ's app.
Yes, I was starting to practice that for quite a while. Buddy gave that to me. I was practicing that, and I was amazed. One day, the highest score I got was 19. I was like, whoa, you know. So then Rob and I got back together, and we decided to have COVID was there then, so we couldn't go anywhere. So we got Nikolai Denisov and Marina to train us remotely. And everyone trains differently. So that's why we were moving around. So we went to Marina and Nikolai, and totally different then. And when I was being trained with him, the room was opening up. I was starting to see the magazine. I was starting to see the room, which was like, whoa, you know. And so then after their training, we were actually reading during that training. And then afterwards, we kind of went backwards. We couldn't understand that. So we carried on training with that. And as we trained more and more and more, everything started opening up more and more and more. And I have to go back to the very first training, very first time I sat down in the chair in Ottawa. I said to everyone, why isn't the blind getting trained this? Like that was my first thought. Why isn't the blind being trained? And so I mentioned that to everybody, and they just kind of went, I don't know, it's crazy. I don't understand that. So as time went on, we were training. Then we set up our YouTube channels, and we had all these videos for ourselves. So then we just started putting them on YouTube, and we thought it'd be a good idea for everyone to see what's possible. And then we started training other people virtually with no cost. And then we set up a Learning to See Blindfold website. Now we have two. I have mine, Rob has his. And it was basically to let people know what it's all about, that it is possible, and that it's not a game. It's not nobody's playing around. It's like you cannot see out of this thing. It's thick, and it's all psychic stuff that's happening. And that you can, when I was training with Rob, there was times that he would be at his house and I'd be at my house, and he would tell me to come over to his house and see what he was holding. And I would actually see him walk across the room holding this sheet of paper up to the window. And I told him, that's orange, right? And he said, yes, but I actually saw him move. So there's a lot more to all of this. And I know people talk about remote viewing. I say it's the same thing: close up, far away, remote viewing, astral projection. I've done that one time on my own. I was just meditating and let my mind go wherever it wanted to go. And I went to a girlfriend's apartment, and I thought it was just me. First time this ever happened to me. I went to the apartment. I took notice of everything. And then I thought to myself, wow, I shouldn't be here. I should leave. And the next morning I talked to her and I described what was in her room, and I was right. And I said, well, it was just like my seeing. It was just like my seeing. In talking to Grant Cameron again, I really think it's all connected. All the psychic stuff is all connected. And yeah, it's all connected. And this is just a way of training to exercise your brain or grow new neurons. That's what we've told is happening. You grow new neurons, and you can, and the blind can see. It just takes training to get that happen, to make that happen. And throughout it all, I had all these experiences happening around me at home of my family and everything throughout it all. And at this point in time, with all the training and all the work that we've put into it, I can now see the room. I can walk around and see the room through one spot, one window in my head. My window's here. So, and I would, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty exciting. You just have to open up and allow it to happen, because it's totally amazing. Yeah.
Well, I could interject something. I want to say it was such a pleasure and a privilege to watch you guys with your early training and to throw in some comments that were hopefully helpful. And I think one of the things that was huge was making it fun.
Yes.
Now, do you have some of the devices that you guys created to test each other that you can show? So I'm not sure everybody has looked at your videos.
Actually, Rob has them.
Like the cards.
Oh, I have the cards. Yes, I'll go get the cards. Rob had the games. He had the gun, where we had noodles on stands where we had to find the noodles, and we had to find them and then miss them. First, we had to find them. That was our first initial training, finding the noodles, finding the color. And that was exciting for us. But then we moved on to, okay, try to avoid them. Well, that was a whole different thing. Okay, find the colored noodle, but then try to avoid that noodle, And then we had cups where we had a gun. And we had, I think one of the pictures is we stacked the cups up, and we had to shoot this air gun into the cups. We had to find the cups. And then we had to aim, which is totally, we had to aim and actually hit something, it was a lot of fun. And making it fun opens you right up, because we found it as soon as you laugh, boom, there it is. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Yeah. So, and also
Yes.
One of the things I found one night when I was practicing on my own is I was sitting there with the board in front of me of letters, and I found that I was listening to someone talk in the background. I wasn't paying any attention. I was just heard this talk going on in the background. And as soon as I paid attention to that, the letters came up right in front of me. So it's just distracting the left brain, occupying and distracting the left brain. And I think with the laughing, it does that. With the jokes, it does that. Yeah, and music helps, or you know, doing something fun for sure. Yeah. So
Yeah, like binaural beats, isochronic tones. People that do the remote viewing will often do it with the headsets on and just have that playing in the background. And they're taking all these notes, which is keeping the left brain busy while the right brain goes out and explores. But it's so with you and Rob, now they didn't always train in the same house.
no.
So what I thought was interesting is he would hold up a sheet of paper. She's got all of her stuff on. And what's funny is sometimes she put Band-Aids over her eyes and then put the on. You don't have any light peeking through at all.
No.
Then he holds it up and points.
Yeah. Rob actually
he had to figure out what it was.
Yeah, I did that actually on my own one time, because it was funny. I was walking around my house cleaning one day, and I'm thinking to myself, why can't I see with my eyes closed? Just with my eyes closed. Why can't I do that? No, actually, it was, why can't I see with patches and the mask? Why can't I see that way? Because I can see with my eyes closed. And it was just convincing my brain that I can do that, because I went, well, if I can see with my eyes closed, I can see with patches. So I walked into the living room, I sat down and I put patches on, and then I put the mask on and practiced on my own. And there it was. If you go to Rob's video, if Rob's YouTube channel, his niece wears the patches and the mask and can actually read. She's much younger than me, but she can actually read. It's actually amazing to see. It's kind of like VibraVision, where Dave, I think Dave does that. He wears both patches and mask in VibraVision. Yeah. And he can actually navigate through pylons. He can read, he can see colors. Yeah. He's been practicing, I think, around 8-9 years though. So it takes time to practice for sure.
Are you at liberty to talk about Leonie's grandkids and what they've been doing with it?
Oh, wow. Leonie's amazing. She has been teaching her grandkids for years. And some of the videos are on there that I can post. They were fairly young when they were doing that. But the grandkids are jumping rope. They're playing games with a blindfold on. It was funny. I was talking to Seth, or talking to Leonie on Messenger one time, and she said that Seth wanted to try driving the car. And I went, really? And she goes, yeah, we're going to go out right now, because they have a huge property and this little wee car. And she said, yeah, me and a sister and her went out. And the video's there of Seth driving through trees. Leonie's in the passenger side, Seth's in the driver's side, and they're just driving through a field at their property. I think she has 25 acres, and he's driving around these trees, and he's talking the whole time as he's driving around, because he had to turn his head sideways because he saw at a certain window. So he was driving along, and at the end of it, he saw his grandfather at the end, and said he wanted to drive over to him. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. And she's helping so many kids. She's taking a bunch of kids down in Australia, and the kids, they just open up right away. They can read, they can actually, I've seen videos where they're back to back, and the one girl can actually read what the other girl's writing on a board, and vice versa. And they actually did a Olympic thing they were doing for Grant. They were doing a mini Olympics for Grant, because Grant wanted to do an Olympic around the world of all the kids that were doing this. So yeah, and some of the videos are on there of that. Yeah. So the kids, they can just open right up. It's just amazing to see. It's like immediately. Yeah.
So where do you think this, or what do you think this means for humanity? Because from what I'm learning and from what I've seen with you, the more you practice any one of these things, others seem to open up.
Yes, I think
What do you think?
what we've seen is the interest from people all over the world wanting to learn this. Interest, people wanting to get involved, wanting to open up their minds to what's going on, the multidimensional stuff. That's what's blown us away. Like right at this moment, Rob's training blind, or I guess she's going blind. He's training her so that she can have her sight open up before she does go blind. And Rob is doing that now at this point in time. And I don't know how long it will take him. She's doing really, really well. He's amazing in his teaching. And Leonie's teaching the kids, and I'm teaching a couple of people, but I have one girlfriend who is deaf. Whereas you read with Mark Komisaroff, he says it helps the deaf also. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with this girl that I'm teaching. She opens up, she can see really well, and we're just going to keep practicing. Like, she can see colors really well. So I'm hoping to open her right up and see if that actually helps her hearing also, which would be amazing if that does.
Well, maybe in that case, it would be more like telepathy.
Yeah,
which is, I think, one kind possibly.
Yes, yeah. She, I'm actually pretty excited about that. We've had a few training sessions. She's doing really well. We're just going to keep going and just see. She has to go without her hearing aids. It's like if you once they call it your third eye, but once it opens up, it's supposed to help your sight also. So at some point, you're supposed to be able to get rid of your glasses because you can see without your glasses. So it's supposed to help. And I haven't got there to that point yet, as you can see, but I'm hoping, like with Kathy, if she can go without her hearing aids, I guess during the training, to stop with the hearing aids and see if it helps her. I just do the training without the hearing aids. I'm going to suggest that the next time, and just she can still hear a little bit, so we'll just work around that and just see if we can get her to actually hear. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it all. Yeah.
Nice. Melissa, do we have any questions yet from the gallery here?
Yeah, a couple actually. Marinella first would like to know if this work has connection or similar training to speed reading, like photographic reading.
I don't know that. I'm sorry. I haven't had anything to do with speed reading and that. I've seen some kids in China. There's some speed reading classes over there, and they also do see. So maybe it is the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We also have another question from Croissant. Is the blindfolded scene only valid for the current time? Is it possible to see things in past and future as well? If yes, is it possible to choose the time you want to see and know exactly when the event you're seeing is taking place?
I think at a certain point where you're training, I think that is possible, because if you can go to another place, why can't you go into the past or into the future? I think it's just a matter of training. Yeah. Have you
tried to go into the past?
I haven't tried. No, I'm at this point, I'm trying to see, to be able to actually see, to walk around. And because of my age, I have a hard time shutting off my left brain. So yeah, so I'm at that point of being able to walk around in that. I think to see the past or the future, I think you just have to sit down and meditate, wear the mask, and then just ask. That's what I think you have to do, and just quiet your mind.
Interesting. Okay, another question from Rachel. first, thank you so much. You've explained so much of my childhood. I saw the lights and fireworks in the sky when I was 15, around when my mind started opening up. Do you find that you get a lot of messages from the multidimensional when diving into this practice?
All the time. all the time. Yeah, especially from my husband, but I get messages actually. One, I actually had my life saved once. I was very sick. I was with friends down in Charleston, and I was very, very sick with, I found out later it was pneumonia. This was like a year and a half ago. And I didn't know I had pneumonia at the time. I was having difficulty breathing. I'm asthmatic, so that's kind of normal for me. So I'm using my inhaler and everything. And I thought, I'm just going to go into the bathroom and draw a bath and just go soak in it. Maybe it'll loosen it up. So I locked my bedroom door and I went into the bathroom. I locked my bathroom door and I filled it up with hot water and jumped in, got in and just laid back and relaxed. And I don't know how much time passed, but the next thing I heard was a very loud, hey, like that. And I went up and I was face down in the water. And I kind of come up and I'm like, what? The door was still locked. Both doors were still locked. Nobody had come in, but somebody yelled in my ear, hey, that actually saved my life. So that's multidimensional for sure. Yeah. And that was actually came in this year. Yeah. So I've had a lot of that. Yeah.
So when you say your window is here, like
Mhm.
what does that mean? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, if you're wearing the mask like this, I can see here, it's vague. I can see here, it's like vague shadows, but I can see it, that it will form here. But my spot here, if I move it over, if I hit the right spot, and sometimes it moves around, but if I hit the right spot, it's like seeing with your eyes. It's like a window there that I can see my hand pass through with the sheet of paper on it. And initially I was having a hard time seeing what was on the sheet of paper. And I asked Nikolai and Marina, and they said it's because at that point in time, it was too much information coming in. So I could see my hand, I could see the sheet, but I couldn't see what was on it. So now I've moved that, and now I can sit and I can see the room. But if I put the card on my lap, around my knee, like hold it like on my knee, I can see the room, then I can see the card. So I've moved on from the too much information to be able to integrate it to everything that I'm seeing. Yeah.
So everybody has a different portal to view.
Yeah. Everyone has, it could be here. Mine moves from here down to here sometimes, but they're anywhere. It depends on you. That's why I tell people to move it around their head anywhere. It could be anywhere in their body, actually, like the little boy that could see on his wrist. And that you can understand why that was unbelievable for me, but kids can see anywhere. So Michaela sent me a picture of where people can see, and it's like here, and it's across here. And under here is the easiest one. People hold it under here, here. But for mine to actually, like, you can see the shades of color here. You can see the shades of color here, but here I actually see in real time. My eye, I can see the room in real time, here or over here. Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Maya, did you have a question?
Yeah, comments and questions. Because I've had several experiences where spontaneously I've had that where I can see the room fully with my eyes closed. One time it saved me from getting a traffic ticket because I saw the cop waiting ahead, when I was on my route. I know exactly where he'd be and when.
It's pretty incredible when it happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. Or I asked, I wanted to know what time it was. There was no clock. All of a sudden the time came in my head. It's like, I saw the clock from the other room.
Mm-hmm.
But I could never stabilize that. And sometimes I have a couple questions then. how long did it take for you to finally fully open up? With
It
all-
has been, for me, it's been 3 years.
3 years,
3
okay.
years, yeah.
And your main techniques were like meditation, intention, and
Yes, I meditate every day, whether it's like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, just meditate. And it's basically calming your left brain down.
I see his third eyes everywhere, anywhere in the body. It's not just here.
It's just letting your left brain allow it in, because that's the problem. Kids are in play mode all the time. Kids have no blocks, and they just boom, there it is. Like you put them. So everybody keeps asking me, how do I train my kids? And I said, put the mask on them and play a game.
I'm also interested in this because my brother's blind. And
Oh, yes.
It'd be a great thing. And if I knew how to teach him,
Yeah.
if he was open to it, that he's not very open, though, is the problem.
No, yeah, well, you have to believe. You have
Yeah.
to believe. Yeah.
I just one more. The people you mentioned, can you put any information in the chat about, how to find their names or the website or anything? Do you have?
Okay, actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, on the description, I've listed them all.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. And the one that does train for free is Inner Vision out of Serbia. And he if you ask him, he could I know he's training a lot of people, but you could ask him, and he's on that list too.
Alrighty. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, Kat.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Wendy. That was actually very interesting because, as you pointed out, it's very much like remote viewing. It's just a different perspective.
Mhm.
Now, I actually wanted to share an experience I had yesterday, actually. Rev Kat sent me a link to a meditation group yesterday, last night. I joined that meditation group. They were doing the equinox meditation.
Mhm.
And they started it like almost an hour before the exact point of equinox. And the person just started, and I was just like, all lights off. I just put music on. I was just sitting there. Initially, nothing happened. And then suddenly, the first thing in my mind that popped up was an old man. He had dark skin, white hair. He was wearing a weird, like, short robe. He had like a staff or stick or something. Okay?
Wow.
I saw it first. I was like, who is this? I don't know. And then as I spent more and more time focusing on that, in front of him, I suddenly saw a weird kind of, the best way I would describe it is like a ritual circle. Like it was literally, there were candles and like symbols drawn.
Wow.
And it was like, I could feel there was something with blood or something like that.
Mhm.
I was like, this is disgusting. Like someone's trying to do a really dark ritual on the solstice.
Wow.
And I just that image that just stuck in my head I was like, oh, I was shown this image to do something about it. And then I realized, oh, okay, I can totally do something about it. And I literally spent the next hour. Like I would say that I kind of disrupted it in some way. And it was such a strange experience. Like I was just there the whole time. It was kind of like a weird kind of battle taking place for an hour between me and that guy, whoever that was or group.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't even know if that's remote viewing, what that was. It was something like, something is bad is taking place. Your attention goes there, and then, maybe you're someone who can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to share that very strange, like
I've had experience kind of like that, and I have just said out loud, I don't want any part of that. Just go away. I don't want any part of that.
No, like for me, I didn't have a problem actually. That was part of why I joined the meditation. We were doing that. But the thing is that I didn't completely, that was the first time I joined it.
Right.
And then this morning, I went back to that. It's like a radio show kind of this guy was doing for the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 5 minutes after I logged off, because it was like getting really late at night for me. I have to like, okay, I need to end this. It's too late. The actual meditation started. They were doing all different kinds of like energetic work in the astral plane and stuff.
Mhm.
And then I was like, wait. So at that point, like I realized, so that my job, like I think internally it was like, oh, my time, like it's getting late. So that was my part of the job. And then this morning when I was listening to this guy actually going through that, whatever he's saying, and I closed my, I was like, it was like I was there doing those things.
Wow.
But was that, so my question is, was I doing it in my sleep and am I remembering it? Or am I being back in time about these events that he's doing? Because I'm the, like, it's kind of part of my thing, what I do, doing these kind of things.
Mhm.
So it was a very strange experience that happened last night. And then today I was like, remote viewing through time, space. I think it's a combination of everything.
Do you think it was maybe someone visiting you, or?
I don't necessarily, there was a clear intention on my part, actually. Like this meditation is specifically to do this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
to clear out these kind of entities. So there was an intention, but I didn't expect it to have such a clear, it was kind of like, I wouldn't say necessarily someone directing me. It was basically a part of myself directing my attention to something
Mhm.
that I need. Like the whole process of me finding that group, meditation group, Kat giving me that info was so strange. It just happened literally 2 hours before it was supposed to happen. It
Wow.
was like really the synchronicity with the whole thing was weird.
It meant to
So it
happen.
was basically like I was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Me and maybe a few others were supposed to prevent this dark ritual
Mhm.
from disrupting something else.
Yeah.
And then so the other people, it was like so many things. Like when I started thinking about it, I was like, so many things had to line up for this to actually make sense.
Mhm.
And it does make sense actually.
Oh, it
If
does.
you kind of open your mind beyond what is normal.
Yeah, you have to open right up. I've had some really crazy things happen. So yeah, it once you can,
Yeah.
once you relax and close your mind, you anything can happen. I've had some amazing dreams, like warning dreams, and messages sent in my dreams, and it was so vivid. It was like it was actually, I was there. It was actually happening, and I was. Mhm.
Have you ever tried lucid dreaming? Like, have you ever attempted lucid dreaming?
That's what it was. It was
Oh,
lucid
okay.
dreaming. Yeah, I was part of the dream. I was participating in the dream. Yeah.
And you had control over what you
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
doing, or was it something past?
Yeah, I had control. I was in it. I had control, and I remember it was like I was there. It was like daylight. I saw it. I was there. Yeah. It wasn't like a dream where you kind of went, "Oh, did that really happen?" I knew it happened.
Yeah, I know the difference. I've had.
Yeah, you
those
know the
too.
difference. You were there. It was
Yeah,
like you were
you
there.
know, like clear memory of what's
Clear.
happening.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, in one of them, I talked to my husband. And one, it was
Oh,
clear,
yeah.
clear,
I mean,
clear.
that's not really surprising, you know.
Yeah.
You have a strong emotional bond. You
Yeah,
can
it was
definitely
clear,
tell that.
clear. We talked, and I could see, yeah, it's yeah. So
All right.
Anyway, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Kat?
Yeah, thank you for that, Venkat, and interesting stories. My question was, I noticed some of your teachers are in Romania, and I often hear that there's a lot more going on over there, the gypsy cultures.
Yes.
Does it seem to you that the instructors are more into it in that side of the world than, say, in the West here?
Well, I think so for sure, because Russia, Romania, Serbia, they've been into that for quite a while. Mark Mizarov is from Russia, and he works with Michaela, who's in Romania, and they're doing amazing work with children. They actually go into hospitals. There's one video on Michaela's website where there's this autistic boy. He can't see and he can't hear, and all he would do is just scream, you know. And if you watch that video, at the end of it, He was actually, she managed to get him to understand what was in front of him. And actually by the end of it, she was actually got him to press, she had a board with letters on it, and he could press the button telling her what letter that was. And this took a long time for this to happen, but the little boy was calm. When he hit the right button, he was so excited. Yeah, you actually should go on her website and watch that. It is the most incredible thing. But she goes in and she teaches and helps kids. And it's a whole thing about growing more pathways in your brain. Like this little boy was totally changed, yeah. So, and I think Mark Komisarov is out of New York, but he flies into Romania. And they actually were in Turkey too. So they moved Turkey, Romania, Russia, yeah.
Pretty wild. I'd love to hear the story about the child. You're going to have to put those links up someplace where we can easily find them.
Well,
So we can explore that too. But
I sent this one to Grant, and Grant actually had an interview with Mark and Michaela right after that, because he was blown away with that. Yeah. So.
well, for the training, for anybody here, if they want to start, do you recommend that they get a partner and try to set up the cards and set up the games, the colored cups? One of the games you did was hide a ball or a smaller cup underneath the other cups.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you had to find them. And of course, so you have to use your senses.
Yeah.
So do you recommend a partner?
Oh, for sure. I recommend a partner, because if you have to figure out what to do, that's your left brain. So as soon as you say, oh, well, I think I'm going to do this game, well, it's your left brain that's involved. Whereas if you have someone else there and they're going, just do this, you can totally concentrate on what they're asking you to do. And then you're in pitch blackness, but you aren't trying to think, okay, I'm going to pick up letters now, and you're rummaging around to try to get the letters. And there's times where you have to do it on your own because you can't be with a partner all the time. But to start out, I'd say a partner is the way to go, for sure.
Well, it seems like the nice thing is you get pretty immediate feedback. And that's something that if you're working with remote viewing, you don't always have it.
Exactly.
Unless you pick targets.
Yeah.
So that's why I would agree with you that maybe a partner is better for starting.
Yeah, and I like, actually with COVID, we haven't been able to do it, but I actually liked in person, like two people, like being in person. We had to go to Skype after that because we couldn't go back and forth. And it does work. But it's not as good, because if you have windows and someone's showing you, you'll see some of the videos of me, whereas he'll be showing something on the screen and I'll be going like this or like this. And so I'm telling them the letter and the color or whatever, but I'm looking this way. And it's because I have to move my head around to find the window to actually see that. So, and yeah, if you watch those videos, it's pretty, pretty crazy watching it. But yeah, it is easier in person, but it can be done remotely for sure. So.
Cool. We have another question in the chat from Rachel. So this is crazy. I can't even imagine. So she says, in my infinite wisdom one day, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could meditate for a full 24 hours like the monks? I made it 8 hours. It was not only a culture shock, but it got to the point where for about 24 hours afterwards, closing my eyes became obsolete because I could see with my eyes closed. Is that part of it, keeping my eyes closed for like 8 hours a day?
Well, they say wear the mask as much as possible, like be in the darkness as much as possible. Even when I start training, I'll put the mask on and I'll just sit there for a while and just adjust to it. In Indonesia, I heard this years ago, but in Indonesia, they actually, if you, there's that there's soldiers over there that they fight and do martial arts with the mask on, or with a blindfold, not with mask, just with a blindfold. And what they would do is put them in a dark room, and they couldn't leave until they could tell them what the sign was on the door. So they had to stay there till that happened. And yeah, and they did that. They couldn't eat until they could see it on the door. They couldn't leave until they could tell them. So after, and they were in pitch black darkness. So that just shows you that it will open up in the necessity. But again, the younger you are, the faster it happens. So most of these soldiers and stuff are young people. So
That's like mystery school teaching, really ancient.
yes. Mhm.
Awesome. Venkat, do you have another question?
Oh, yeah, just a quick thing. So Wendy, you're talking about kids being more open to this. Now, you pointed out kids, they enjoy playing, which is true, of course. Is there something else that comes to your mind or your friends, that another theory that could explain why kids are better at this than adults?
They have no blocks. They have no bills to pay. They have no, they have no work to go to. They have no, like it's just, there's nothing stopping them. And it's a game.
So it is mental block. It's
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a mental block.
Yeah, at
for
the end of the
everyone.
day it is, yeah. Because how many people, like the people that, the number of people that said that we're cheating, the number of people that saying that this is not possible. Rob and I even did, we had a scientist who said that we were cheating. There's no way this can happen.
Of course.
And so we did some training with, we'd have the mask, but then we'd have a black blanket in front of them. And this is basically remote viewing, but we had a black blanket. So
Yeah.
he was putting things behind the black blanket and we were seeing it. And the scientist still didn't believe it, but he went home and his grandchild got a mask and his grandchild did it just like that. Now he believes because his grandchild.
Oh, he believes.
He believes because his grandchild.
But has he attempted it himself, or is his mind?
No, we offered to train him for free. We offered to train him. As far as I know, I think he's from England. But yeah, we got notification that his grandson was doing it very easily. So now we believe.
That is, I mean, I do understand why. Like, it's just so much of this indoctrination that exists against all this. It's really sad.
Yeah, well, I don't tell too many people all the stuff that's happened to me because they kind of glaze over and go, what?
Oh, and also I think that, people like this guy, there's also the fear factor.
Yes.
Because he might be ostracized from society. People might laugh at him. He'll lose his, it is really sad. That's why I said, it's sad. It's a sad reality that we live in.
But
that needs to change. That will change.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see the number of people from all over the world that are contacting us. Wanting to.
Yeah, I mean,
and people,
I'm not surprised nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, and people from all over the world connecting up and training each other. That's pretty incredible. And people just trying it on their own, and we're getting people contacting us going, wow, this is amazing. So
all the horrible things that have happened over the past 2 years, the one thing that I would say was kind of good was people have had to be with their own thoughts and be by themselves. That makes you really the whole society is constructed around not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not being with yourself. And that is very, very dangerous and not healthy. So now, I guess, has it been during this period or before that? Like this, what your experience?
My experience is, like I say, started 4 years ago, and I've been training for, I'd say 3.5.
No, not you. Like people trying, more and more people trying.
Everyone's different. Everybody asks me how long will it take them, and I just keep saying everyone's different. Yeah.
My question is how much? You said more and more people are coming to you.
Yes.
To ask for training. And my question is, has this been happening during the past couple of years? specifically?
Yes,
or has
mostly,
it
yes.
been even?
Since COVID, yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
it actually must be more people on the computer seeing seeing this stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah, just be with your thoughts and thinking
And you
the
know,
possibilities.
Grant Cameron was a big part of that, getting it out there. And all, you know, and also us getting it out there. Like a lot of people don't want to put their videos out there, and they're minor, they're all there. You know, so
Oh, this is on YouTube, right? Your
yeah,
videos?
yeah.
And they haven't, well, they kind of, usually they don't take down these kind of things because
Oh,
YouTube is weird.
well, no, they haven't.
Have you had problems?
No, I haven't had a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't had a problem. It's just Rob and I practicing, and on Rob's, he's training right now. He's training this lady that's going to go blind. He's training her, and he's showing her progression as he's training her, which is pretty cool. She's okay with that. Some people don't want that. Like the people I'm training right now don't want to be videoed. They don't want it on YouTube. So you know, you respect their wishes. So, but that's the only way to get it out there. That's why we did it. It's the only way to show people what's possible. And we've had tons of people saying this isn't possible. You're cheating. We've had tons of that, but you know, we just ignore them. So
have you, okay. Oh, sorry, Melissa, one more question. I don't know if there are other people.
you're breaking up a little bit, so I'm trying to hear.
Yeah, you got to work on your audio.
Can you hear me clearly?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
I think my connection is a problem. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
We could hear you. It's just a little
Okay.
crackly.
Okay. So Wendy, my final question would be, have you actually attempted something like telekinesis or any form of manipulating matter, not just seeing something?
I'm moving on to that now. I see Kat's laughing. Yeah, I'm moving on to that now. Like I say, I've bent 3 spoons, but I've been so focused on the seeing that right now I'm wanting to start to move energy. That's what the message I got was, to start moving energy, healing, that kind of thing. So I'm actually training myself in that right now. So learning how to do that.
So energy, not necessarily physical matter. Not much with physical matter.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Wendy, would I be really putting you on the spot by asking if you could demonstrate the spoon bending? Because we had somebody else who talked about it, but he wasn't able, or I don't know if he wasn't willing or wasn't able to do it. Is it really hard to do with people watching?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if it's something you do.
It's the same as the seeing. If you told me to see right now, I probably wouldn't be able to, because I'm a little nervous. and your left brain gets all involved in it stuff. So when you're bending a spoon, you have to really, really, really focus on, and because it's all energy, you got to visualize energy going into that spoon. And the third one that I did was a totally unexpected thing. I had to go to London to pick up something, and I met Rob there, and he was in the car. I got in the car. He handed me a spoon. I had no intentions of doing this. He handed me a spoon and said, bend it. And I went, what? You know, I've only bent 2 so far, and that could be a fluke. And so he videotaped it, and that one was totally spur of the moment. And you'll hear my surprise, because the spoon went to putty. Now everybody says it's easy to bend a spoon if you use force, you know, like you can bend any spoon when you use force. Mine, if you watch it, it didn't even get hot. It just went soft, and I just went poof like that, and it was, yeah. And I'm like, whoa, look what just happened, you know. So it's all new for me. I've only done it 3 times. So, but I don't think it will do it on video. Sorry.
Well, we could get everybody in the room here chanting for you and visualizing. That's putting you,
Every now and then I do try it. I'm actually trying to do telekinesis also right now, but right now the energy thing, I'm actually doing some training on moving energy, so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm trying different things, and since I'm going to be, well, I don't think I'm going to be locked down, but we can't go out and do a whole lot here, so that's what I spend my time doing now. So, but yeah.
Good idea.
so if I was the color, would you be able to see it, you think?
I can try.
So if I was to hold up a color right now and you blindfold, you think you'd be able to see it?
I can try.
I don't know how, if you'd be too nervous or not.
I can try. I can't say I will be able to, but I can try.
Yeah, I have faith in you. I've seen you working.
Usually I have time to prepare. I find with me, I start out not seeing much, but then as I stay in the mask, then it comes out more. So
Okay, I'd like for you to reach out and tell me if you see any shapes or colors appearing now.
right now I'm just all flashes, all light. And I can see the window.
Yeah, take a moment. Okay. Because I know sometimes you can reach out and you can perceive other things, textures, colors,
Mhm.
smells that could be related to what you might be seeing. Go ahead and take a couple deep breaths and let it out. Relax your mind. I know I put you on the spot, but I know you've got really good vision.
I do if I'm prepared.
What's the first thing that
Hmm. I'm not seeing in real time.
I'm going to say, just to help out, if you, okay.
Sorry,
Well,
I
will say that there's more than one.
missed that again.
Okay. Any shape, any kind of shape or anything that you see there?
I can see the screen. And I can
Uh-huh.
see- Oh,
Just like you do with Rob.
I know. We usually prepare for a while first.
It's probably not fair that I hit you on the spot, but I want to know if you, any kind of,
Yeah. I'm seeing
if
like
this
a-
was a real thing.
yeah.
Okay.
I was seeing like an X across type of thing, but that could be. It's right here, right? Where's my right here?
Oh yeah, then you've got a small screen. You've got all these other people that are there too.
Yeah.
Just focus on my voice and what I'm looking at, because I know you kind of see through other people's eyes while you're doing this, and it's okay.
Yeah. I usually take time to prepare.
Yeah, I didn't let you prepare. Sorry.
Okay. There's a color.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting two colors, one here, which could be even the window. So go
Yep.
here,
You're right.
go here.
You're right.
I'm seeing like a green color, but I don't know if there could be anything here. So I'm sorry.
Take your mask.
Mhm.
Take your mask off.
Oh, it is.
Leaves. Letter
Yeah.
leaves on a green background.
I saw
All
green.
right, everybody.
I saw the green, but I saw like it was like a cross, which could have been that picture on the top. Yeah. Wow.
I think it, oh,
Usually it
well,
takes.
it had letters, so maybe.
Mhm.
Now, what you were showing, Kat, it was a close-up of like the veins of the leaf.
Yeah,
They were
Okay.
kind of
I think it was
crossed.
also inverted or something. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, there were some words,
Yeah.
some boxes on it.
I was
Looked
seeing
like a
the
calendar.
black, and
Yeah,
I
it's-
was seeing the green. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
so I didn't even give you an easy target. I got on the spot, but I knew you could do this. So I wanted people to see because we've got,
Usually
Even-
go to the
but
video.
not be able to, provide it. So
Well, usually on the videos we don't show that because people get bored sitting there watching us doing meditation and relaxations and all that kind of stuff. I think there's only a couple that we do show that, and we just try to tell people that's what they need to do, relaxation and stuff, and usually get in the in between state, and then you can see. Yeah. So, but it takes practice for sure.
Cool.
Melissa, how are we doing on time?
Yeah, we're over an hour, so we can wrap it up. But thank you, Wendy, so much. It was very inspiring, and I think all of us are gonna blindfold ourselves after this call and
It's-
try it out.
It's amazing. And just hang in there. And like I said, the younger you are, the faster it comes in. And what I do, I tell people, is what I do a lot of times is send my consciousness out. Like if you're holding something, send your conscious. That's what I was trying to do as I was tapping, sending my consciousness out to where I was tapping. So because your consciousness can go anywhere. So how does it know where to go? And so that's why I was doing that. Go here. And you'll see me in the videos, I'll be doing that. And sometimes you're never wrong, because if someone's holding a color and they don't tell you where that color is, like you could go anywhere in the room. So you have to be specific where the color is so that you can send yourself out to that color at that spot. Yeah. So it's very, because you can't just go, what color is this? And
Right.
your mind can go, like I said, when I was trying to see, I said I could be even seeing out here. That's why I was starting to tap. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Very similar to remote viewing.
yes,
It sounds like.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You have to direct it for sure.
All right. Well, we'll check out your YouTube channel. Is there any other ways to contact you, or is YouTube primarily the best way?
YouTube or Messenger. Like
Okay, Facebook.
I'm on Messenger, yeah. And I have a site there. Rob's site is Learning to See Blindfolded, Rob Freeman, and mine's Blindfold Seeing. It's quite a long one because I get into energy and CE5 and everything. So mine is a fairly long site, but yeah. And so we have examples on there. We have directions how to do it. And all our videos are accessible there. So, and we just hope everybody gets into it. It's just amazing. And that's why we did it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and my goal at one time was to open up a school for the blind. And I'm not confident in that yet. I want to find the fastest way to have that happen. So I just keep practicing to figure out the fastest way to have that happen for someone.
It'll
So,
manifest eventually the best way.
exactly. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for for joining us today. Very inspiring and interesting. And we'll check you out on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
And thank you everybody else for joining today too. Next week's topic, we're going to be discussing connecting with elementals. So that'll be hopefully just as interesting.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Hopefully you can join us again soon.
Thank you, Wendy. And
All right.
thanks for
Bye,
taking on the
everybody.
challenge.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you,
much.
Kat.
Impressive.
Oh,
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
thank you.
Love you
Bye-bye.
all.
Love to all.